Welcome to 719 FPV. I'm Nick Roberts, and today we are going to be installing a new receiver into the TinyGO so we can start flying with our new radio transmitter. So today we're going to go through the steps to install the Radiomaster R81 receiver into the TinyGO, get it bound up to the TX16S Max radio, and then get into Betaflight, set up all of our switches so we are ready to fly. So let's head to the bench, get things torn apart, and let's get to work. All right, so now that we have got it all apart and access to the FHSS receiver, let's go ahead and open up the Radiomaster and see what we got, see what we're working with. All right, so here in the Radiomaster, set that aside, it gives us our diagram right here where, looking at our receiver just like this, we have a ground, our our power in, which is a DC 4.5 up to a 6 volt, and our signal wire. I'm not sure what these other two are, but so those are the three we're going to use. In the kit, they did provide some wire with this little plug, which looks like you could just plug right into like a Spectrum receiver or something like that. So we are gonna solder onto these three, and I'm going to reuse these wires. So I'm just going to clip these pretty close to the end. And then I'm gonna save this for later use if I ever need it. And then with these wires, I'm just gonna use my fingernails. Strip that back just a little bit. A little bit more. All right. So, if I zoom you in a little bit. So I've got these three wires stripped back. Now I've got black as my ground, the white is my signal, and the red is my 5 volts. So if we look at our diagram here, I'm gonna do black, red, and white. So it's time to start soldering. All right, so I'm gonna pre-tin these just because that's a new, some new wire ends. Just gonna add some flux to that. Make my life a little bit easier. Set that aside. Go ahead and flip this around, which means I'll flip that around. Well, it looks like I missed it on camera, but I did get them soldered. Everything, it looks pretty good. Has a good connection. It's giving it a nice tug. This white one's a little bit long, but it should be all right. I'll cover it up with the heat shield, so we should be okay. With the heat shrink, rather. So we should be good to go. So now that we have our Radiomaster R81 receiver installed and soldered up, next step would be to bind it to our transmitter. So let's go ahead and turn this on.
Welcome to OpenTX.
And if you've seen the previous video,
switch warning.
We're gonna go through that exact same process to bind. So we're gonna continue to use this model. So we're gonna go to our internal RF, turn that to multi. And now, when we look at this, we are now looking for a D8. So I believe that is FR Sky. So FR Sky D8 is what we're going to use. So we're gonna highlight bind. Now over here, I've got one battery connected. Now I'm going to get that ready. Hold this bind button down and connect the battery. All right, so we have the solid red light, which means it's in bind mode. I'm gonna click. All right, now that we have the flashing light, that means the bind was successful. So now we are going to exit out of this, power down the receiver, remove power from here, and now to double check that we have a successful bind, we're going to power back up.
Welcome to OpenTX.
So we're looking for the red light to show up
switch warning.
once we have connected. There it is. So we have a successful bind. Now that everything is connected, now let's go ahead
telemetry lost
and set up our switches. Look at that. See, our SSI is already working. All right, so let's go ahead and set up our switches. All right, so the switches we want to set up are an arming switch. I would like my modes, so acro, horizon, and level mode. I would like to do a beeper, and I want turtle mode somewhere in here. Maybe I'll add turtle mode here, or yeah. So I want a arming switch, beeper switch, mode switch, and flip over crash. So we're gonna come down here, get into your model setup, page over to inputs. Channel 5 will be our arm switch. So we're going to highlight that so it's flashing. Let's flip the switch so it just changes to that. And back out of that. All right, so mode is going to be my SE switch. So it is automatically detecting which one it is. So I'm just gonna name it again. Usually, well, I guess nowadays it probably will automatically detect it, but sometimes you'll have to go to this source and then change that to the right source you want. Go down. This is my beeper. That's this momentary one. Looks like it's working. And last one. Which is this one. All right, so that's all we have to do in the radio. Now we have to get it hooked up into Betaflight to make sure all of our switches are doing what we need to do. So let's go ahead and power it down. Get this put back together. All right, go ahead and connect or open up Betaflight. Let's connect our TinyGO into the computer. All right, so we are connected. Well, let's power up our transmitter.
Welcome to OpenTX. Switch warning.
All right, and now we are going to come into our receiver tab, and we're going to see if all of our controls are wired correctly. So I've got my pitch forward and back, my roll left and right, my throttle, and my yaw. Awesome, that looks like that is all set correctly. So that is good news. Looks like that switch is set. That switch. So we've got aux 1, aux 2, aux 3, and aux 4. Perfect. All right, so we need to go into our mode. All right, now that we are in our modes window, I am just going to delete all of these and we're going to start from scratch. So let's click save. So our arming, we are going to leave this in auto and just flip the switch we want for arming. Now I want this would be my SF switch, my bottom, or the left side on my remote right here. So armed will be down in this position right here with this little tab. So highlight it, and that one's good to go. Let's see what else we want. So I am going to do this switch above my arming switch will be our mode switch. So let's save that. Let's go back to the receiver tab just to remember this switch is aux 2. Go back to modes. So we are gonna add range for angle. So all the way down will be our acro mode. So that's just regular. Middle position will be our angle mode. So that's perfect right where it's at. And then when I flip this all the way up, I want that to be my turtle mode. So I'm gonna get rid of horizon. So we're gonna flip under here, scroll down. What am I looking for? Flip over and crash. Add range. Again, I want this switch. So we left it in auto, flip the switch, flip over and crash will be up on that switch. So that one is set and good to go. Then we need our beeper. So beeper is going to be on this momentary switch, and that is our aux 3. Yeah. Let me save that. Go to the receiver, flip that switch. That is aux 3. Let's see what we have. All right, so our beeper needs to be changed when the switch is down. So we want it to beep. When that's right there, save that. Now, what else do we have? All right, so that is set up for all the switches I'm going to use in my modes tab. Let's enable expert mode and go into adjustments. And this top one is gonna be my, if you've seen in a previous video, I have made a throttle limit where I have 100%, 75%, and 50% throttle on a switch. Right here I have it on aux 4. Looks like it is already set up for that switch. We should be good to go. So just real quick to make sure that's working, I'm gonna go to my tuning tab. We're gonna watch this rate profile here. And I'm still rotating all the way, just straight through 3 different rates. If you go to our rate profile settings, you can see they actually added the throttle limit right here. It makes it super easy to see. I'm at 100%, 75%, and 50%. So that is all my switches. I believe we are set up and ready to fly. Save that. Disconnect. And there we go. We have the TinyGO connected to the Radiomaster TX16S with the flip of a switch on my new radio. We are armed and ready to fly. And I have all of my switches ready. So I have, just to recap, I got my armed, I got my modes up here with acro level mode, and then up top will be my my turtle mode. So I got rid of horizon mode. Who uses that anyway, right? No, I'm just kidding. But I got my beeper on my momentary. And then up here, I have my rate profile, so I can still flip down to 75 or 50% whenever I do my indoor flying. So I'm super excited to get that. We are all set, ready to go. And that'll do it for this video. As always, I love you all. And I hope you guys stay safe out there, keep flying, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.